if you were going to represent the speed or the pace at which enterprises typically adopt cybersecurity posture and the mature it throughout the life cycle, right? I mean, it's probably starts down here because it's more visible at the tactical level, right? But the learning curve, probably goes, something like this. It's probably going to flatline a little bit, and then they're going to achieve a high level of operational maturity, right? So let's say here's our baselines, right? But on the opposite side, the guys that want to get into your organization, they start here, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So you're always behind the curve, right?
And by the way, as much as companies try, I guess if we put a timeline on it,
right?
These guys are always
always going to be
they're always here while the enterprise is trying to catch up to that.
That's right. A better representation, over time, is probably sort of a straight line for them, right? Something like that.
And this is time.
Yeah, this is time.
This is risk. Or is this?
No, this is, I'd say, skill, right? Right? So this is, would-be hacker.
Yep.
Right? Who is going to start out doing some basic testing. He's going to try to test RDP against your environment. He's going to run some port map scans against your firewalls. He's going to try to do some dictionary attacks against your Office 365 environment. Stuff that these script kiddies can get off the internet, right? And you can reasonably protect yourselves from some of those things with like policies inside your SaaS application provider, right? I can go in here and say, if somebody tries to log in 5 times and fails, lock their account out, right? So those are very basic remediation steps, right?
This individual's gotten very advanced to the point that this is big business now. I mean, this has become big business.
They're script kiddies, right? We'll say those are individuals, right? Those are individual actors on the internet. Who knows where they are in the world? A lot of times they're not from the U.S., right? But they're finding open source software on the internet that they can use to exploit vulnerabilities on the internet. So let's go to the next step, right? Then you've got organizations like Anon, who most recently, gained notoriety for a lot of the break-ins that they've been able to do. And so they're organizations. So, I mean, just like anything else, right? I mean, if you have an individual that's good at something, they're only as good as the one individual. But if you've got a team of people, potentially hundreds or thousands.
Just look at if you're watching this, you have any concerns or any questions on this, look and see the value of some of these ransomware attacks and how much revenue for these organizations that are operating offshore. It's become a big business.
Oh, it's $1 billion business.
Because companies that have a weak infrastructure have to pay it to survive. I mean,
Then you have, I think, something that I would call a cyber warrior, right? That's somebody that's more motivated by politics or cultural issues or other things where they're going to go attack a specific organization, right? Because they have an agenda, right? They're not just playing around doing random port scans on the internet looking for some schmo that's unprotected. They're actually targeting somewhere, and they want to infiltrate for a specific reason, for a specific agenda.
Enemy states. Would you put that in? That's a separate category.
Yep. Yeah. So then you have, I would say, cyber, and you could either say armies or you could say what I'll call.
I think they're two different things. I think it's
warfare.
Yeah.
Warfare is going to represent more of, I think, your governmental interests and things that not necessarily all foreign governments have admitted to, but obviously it's clear that this is a real threat and it's happening on a daily basis.
This represents the biggest threat to our country.
For sure. Yeah. National security.
And when you understand what the risks are, it's scary as hell.
Absolutely. And you can add another dimension to this to say, some of this is bred from within the enterprise, right? And I'll give you an example. If I'm a part-time script kiddie or an organization of someone that a lot of these people do this as a hobby, and sometimes breaking into an organization's infrastructure is part of them testing themselves.
It's like a badge of honor.
It's like a badge of honor. They're seeing if they can do it. They're honing their skills to say, okay, I wasn't able to get past this threat detection system, but let me try this other mechanism or method and see if I can get there. And then once they achieve success, then that's the badge of honor that you're talking about. But some of that breeds within these enterprises, right? So if you have one of those individuals that goes to work for, company XYZ over here, right? And let's say that he's in, let's say like a network infrastructure or system administrator position, and he figures out that, this company, falls short here, falls short here, falls short here, falls, short here, maybe checks this box and maybe checks this box and falls short here. If he becomes disgruntled and leaves the organization, his capabilities are going to be far greater to attack this organization and bring it down than would be someone that has no intimate knowledge or tribal knowledge of that organization.
So thanks for tuning in. We're going to be over the course of the next few weeks talking about actions that you can take if you're an executive in a business, whether you're a CISO, a CEO, on the board, tactics and actions that you can take to both assess your current level of risk, as well as actions you can take to close the gap from being at high risk to lower risk and having a good cut posture in place.
You bet. So we're going to talk about business process, business procedure, discussions you should be having internally, and then hopefully we'll be able to get into some tactical tools and some platforms that you can use to help increase your cybersecurity posture.
And if you haven't already talked to an MSSP, reach out to Netrio. We are certainly here to help. And we can also walk you through what are things you got to look for if you're needing help today and you want to enlist an MSSP. Objective things that you ought to be looking for, tools that you can use to help assess your current level of risk.
Absolutely.
So thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for next week's Whiteboard Wednesday.
Thanks. If you liked our episode today, click here to subscribe. And for other Netrio content, check out our channel.